All right, so David Dozier here, and with me, Ryan Hemphill, and we're over here at the North Brevard Art League's Pottery Studio, and we're about to open up a project that we're working on right now that has been, let's see here, 2004 was when you first made this this bust.
The original clay, yeah.
The original clay bust. So basically this has been going on since 2004. So what we're going to do here is we're taking something that was originally made in a mold back in 2004, and we are going to actually turn it into a slip cast mold. So, but what we have to do first is we actually had to go through and add in all the clay. We had to put in the monster clay in here, into this thing, and basically into this mold, and basically create a new casting so that we could edit the casting and make sure that it's really appropriate for doing a plaster cast, because there are a lot of differences between doing slip casting and doing a normal casting. Now, one of the things you'll notice if you haven't ever seen like a mold before, at least from like a normal mold, most normal molds, if it's a large piece, will usually incorporate two different pieces. There'll be the outside, which is called the mother mold. Now that's basically the part of your mold which is protecting the interior, and it's basically there to provide rigidity and to make sure that your that the mold is going to actually hold up in exactly the right position. So we already took the bolts out, but what we did was, when they made this mold, basically they had these bolts in here to hold it in exactly the right position. So there's two pieces to that, and this is all actually made out of fiberglass, so this is really, really stiff. Now on the interior, you'll see here, this is a very flexible material. This is probably some kind of urethane foam type material, and essentially what this was done is, this is the soft part of the mold, and this is what this is designed specifically to do, is to capture all the nuances of David's work, or some other sculptor's work, so that you catch all the fine detail. You wouldn't be able to do that with fiberglass for obvious reasons, and plus on top of it, if it wasn't really flexible, then what would happen is it would tear itself apart when you try to pull it apart. So what's really nice is you got this stiff mold on the outside, which we're going to pull off first, and then we're going to pull off a flexible mold on the inside, and then what we're going to see at the end of this is a mold of a casting, a casting of the a sculpture of
Rudolf Steiner.
Rudolf Steiner. So let's get this thing started, and we're going to pull off. What we're going to do first is we'll pull off this side of the mother mold. And there you can take a look here real quick. That's the that's a fiberglass piece there, and then we're going to take off the other side. And David, if you want to just pull off the mother mold side on that there, should come off pretty easily at this point. There we go.
That's it.
Okay. Now, one of the other things that's really a sign of a high quality mold here that you're going to see is that what they did in this particular case was they made this all a one-piece mold, but they made it so that it was really flexible, and they used the flexibility to their advantage. So what you're going to see here is, you see how it's like, looks like he's got kind of a mohawk going down the back. Well, that actually is because this thing opens up in the back. And they did that so that they could actually capture all the work that David did on this sculpture in the first place, without actually disturbing any of it with any flashing that would happen across the face, because that's one of the few places that you want to make sure that you include as little flashing as possible. Now that's not something you can avoid when you're doing a slip cast mold, but when you're doing this kind, you absolutely can, and that's basically why this was built the way it was. So at this point, David and I are going to peel this thing back. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to hold it in this position.
We should probably give some credit here to Orlandi Sculpture in Chicago, who made this mold.
Oh.
And did the original cast.
They did a fantastic job. Very nice. Get it right over the ear. Perfect.
Off here.
All right. And wow, look at that. Okay. Dude, if you want to hold it, right ahead.
All right. So it's in pretty good shape. This monster clay casting from the original mold by Orlandi Foundry. There's a few areas that need to be touched up, but
absolutely.
But it's really it's really very,
It came out really nicely.
really came out nicely. So just a
Right.
few spots to touch up here and there.
Yep, and even with the regard, yep, so
Let's see.
there you go, there's a close-up.
So this is Rudolf Steiner, who was the founder of Waldorf Education and biodynamic farming, and a big influence on homeopathic and medicines and skincare. Also worked in architecture. It's hard to say what he didn't work in.
Wow. He's a busy man.
One of the reasons he may not be better known was if he had just done one thing, he would probably be better known
Right.
than if he had influenced like 7 different major areas of culture. Anyways,
All right.
so
All right, so at this point what we're going to do is we're going to actually start working on this piece. There's a couple parts that didn't get done the way or didn't get filled in the way we wanted it to. But we knew that that was going to happen because of what we needed to do in order to get this thing done. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a bunch of adjustments to it and make it so that it can actually be put into several parts into a slip cast mold and then pull out real cleanly. So we're going to need to make those adjustments, and we'll take you through that process as we go through. All right, we're going to sign out for now.